How's it going, Andrew?
Going good. How's it going, Johnny Beaner?
It's going well. It's going well. Good to see your smiling face.
I know I'm good. I had a big weekend in Denver, seeing my old buddy Brant Tobler. So
Yeah, I saw your posts. Comedy Works.
Comedy Works. Oh my God, it was great. It was very cool to get to do Comedy Works. It's like I was telling Heidi earlier, but you just forget because I've been doing all these other shows, like breweries and movie
Yep.
theaters, and you just forget like what a real. I mean, you must be so spoiled there with Comedy Club on State, but they
I do.
just that
I am.
they seat the people perfectly, because it was
Yeah.
Sunday night, so it wasn't sold out obviously, but it was like it was pretty good turnout, and then just like it was like a military, like there wasn't one straggler off in the corner, like they make everyone sit in like a perfect row, tight, the low ceilings, just the whole thing, perfectly lit. And then
Have
just
you done?
everything hits because you're like, this is just easy. It's just so easy. And that's the
Is it
that's
like when you showed up? Was it like different than you expected? Because you see people's clips and like, so I have this
right.
mental image of what that club is like, and then
Well,
you get there and it's like, oh, I see the stage matches, but everything else is different.
yeah, that it's actually it didn't happen to me because I'd been there before.
Oh, okay.
I had done like their new talent night or whatever a couple years ago. Like I was there on a Tuesday or something. But then I know what you're talking about. Where that really happened to me was Gotham in New
Oh,
York.
okay.
Have
Yeah.
you been in there?
Yeah.
Because would shoot those live at Gotham's on Comedy Central a million years ago, and then it looked so big on TV. You're like, oh
Yeah.
my God, this is this giant
It looked
club.
like a theater.
And then you go in there, it's this closet. It's just this long
I
hallway,
know.
and you're like,
Yeah.
this is where the famous comedy club is. But like a lot of the
Yeah.
New York clubs are like that. They're just so much smaller than you because you build them up in your head to be huge.
Yeah. Yeah. That's how, have you ever done Acme or been to Acme?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Acme's
It
very
was like that.
similar to I think Comedy Club on Well, Acme is very similar to Comedy Works, is what I was gonna say, because they're like great clubs, but they're also like they've got just enough age on them. They've got enough, like they're still like they're modernly ran, like they haven't
Yeah.
let them go to hell, but you can feel the scars on them, and like it's not like a shiny brand new plasticky thing. It's like a
Right.
real
Right.
authentic comedy club that's had like guys smoking in there, and like you all that stuff I think makes it even a better club.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like broken in, like, oh, it's like a catcher's mitt. You can't
Yeah.
play with like a brand new catcher's mitt. You got to have like some scars on it.
Gotta put some oil on it. Gotta have some
Yeah, you got to oil
rips.
it up.
Yeah.
Tie a rubber band around it or something.
Yeah. I gotta sleep with it under your
Sleep with
back.
it under your pillow. I never got good enough at baseball to where that was part of my. I just know that from my brothers and television shows.
Yeah.
And
I
coach
still.
pitch, you're not worried about your glove. Uh,
Right. Yeah.
you're not sleeping on your.
Edie played baseball a couple times, and Edie's glove still like can't can't squeeze it to close it. So we'll play catch, and they'll
You
catch
just
it and the ball just falls out because it's
yeah.
so stiff.
You gotta throw that thing. You gotta sleep under that thing. Oil it up.
Yeah. I know.
Sit on it.
Yeah.
Uh, where were you
So
this weekend?
you were at Comedy Works. I was at Saint Nazianz
The
Meets
opera.
Opera House.
The opera
Yeah.
house. Did you hit him with a little Pavarotti? Did you,
I should have taken a wide angle shot and sent it to you because that is I don't know why they call it an opera house, but I discovered they don't call it an opera. They just call it meets because it's like a bar with a back room. I mean, it's kind of a big room, but it was classic. It was just classic. The guy that booked it, he's like, "Yeah, man, it's a door deal. You get, I mean, it's close. It's like an hour and a half from me."
yeah.
And he's like, yeah, you get like, $3 a ticket. And we never had, we always have
At
like the
least.
last few been 104 or
Yeah.
114. We never had less than 80.
Yeah.
Well, Guess how many people showed up for the Johnny Beaner show? 41.
Wow, new record.
Oh my God.
You beat
I
it by
probably should.
half.
I know.
Uh, yeah, that's
It was a really fun show, but it was just, it
but the
ended up
whole
being,
time you can't even enjoy it because you're like, God,
I know.
that's the problem with those things. Is even when they're fun, once you're on the hook for them.
And it's like,
I
as a
love that
booker,
they
I
call it an
get,
opera house. I love that they call it like
I know.
so. Would they did they call it an opera house like ironically? Like they've never had opera there, right?
I have no idea why they call. I mean, I made fun of that and they laughed, so I can't imagine they haven't heard that before.
Yeah, yeah, huh? That's
But
just so funny in my head. I thought you were doing like this big fancy gig with like guys with
so did I, because
they're
there's
gonna have the
one.
glasses looking at you from the balcony, and
Yeah, there was one in I did in what's it called? Woodstock, Illinois. There's a theater. It's like an opera house or whatever. And I just, I was just like, oh, it's just another gig, whatever. And then I get there and it's like a huge, like it's like, it's like a theater. It's nice.
yeah, yeah,
And I was like, oh man, I wish I would have realized and been more excited leading up to this because it was a sweet gig. So this one I was like, oh, I was getting excited. And then I
yeah.
show up to this, town
It's
of 300s beer hall.
it is like when you haven't done a gig before, you really just have they can't really explain it to you in a way where you're gonna know what it's gonna be like. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you really just kind of have to go in and go like whatever energy. They could be like, you're playing Madison Square Garden. You're like, this could suck. I don't know. This could just be
Yeah.
this could be
Yep.
shitty. And then they could be like, you're playing a doghouse, you know, in
Yeah.
Fresno. And you're like, hey, maybe the doghouse is code for like a mansion or a yacht show. Who knows?
All
So you
right.
really don't know.
And it never.
And then but it makes it impossible on where to bring your wife. I always say that because
Oh
the
yeah.
that gig in South Carolina with a dude for Funny Business books those like resort gigs. He was like, "Bring your wife," and I was like, "I'm not bringing my wife to South Carolina for some show." And it was like the fanciest hotel in the country with everything comped, the spa, the food, everything comped. And I was like, "Well, that's like gonna go down as one of my bigger mistakes."
Well, I did the opposite. I tell you about that. How I got booked at Hilton. I think we talked about this probably years ago.
Yeah,
It was like it was at Hilton Head, and the guy's
right.
like, "Yeah, it's great." So I brought Aaron, and we end up like, we're lodging in this guy's apartment in
Oh
the other
God.
room.
Oh
It was
no.
just like, oh, it was like, ugh, awful.
Oh. The yeah, I stayed at my buddy Brant's Sunday, and it's funny because I told Heidi like, yeah, I think you probably would have, and she's like, I'll just finish the sentence for you. We would have been in a hotel. Like, there's just
Yeah,
there's no like arrangement. Like Brant's so nice, he would have offered his bed, but Heidi's just such a no, not a
yeah,
snob, but her days of sleeping in single dudes' apartments are over.
yeah.
Put it that
All
way.
right, over.
Those days are over for my lovely wife. But
Yeah,
it was cool. But I had the weirdest thing happen. So there's a couple weird things. You want the neighborhood weird thing that happened or the road? Let me tell you the road thing that happened that was weird, and then I'll tell you the neighborhood thing that happened was weird.
okay,
So we were with the first night we were in like Edwards, Colorado. It's like near Vail, like up in the mountains.
yeah,
And we're going and we're thinking we're driving back that night because we didn't have a hotel for the show. And I was like, well, we'll just get back to Denver and crash. I'll crash at Brant's. And but we get there and it's snowing. It's like crazy. Then there's like a storm predicted overnight. So like, oh, screw it. Let's get the show was fun, but it's like let's get a hotel. And there's one down the street, so we just stay in the hotel for the night. And then we get up in the morning, and they have like this nice, it's a pretty nice place. So they had a nice breakfast, and so I'm sitting there eating breakfast and got my bags down there. I'm ready to go. But Brant didn't have any bags, right?
yeah,
So he was just walking out with like nothing. So then we leave and we get back to Denver. And I tell Brant, like, you know what? I'm just gonna leave the bags in the car because we're about to go back. We're gonna drive to Wyoming. So we're just going in this house for like an hour. I'll leave the bags in the car, whatever. So we get back to the car, and I look in the back, and my bags are gone. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding. Because I had my laptop, my hard drive.
Wait, what car was this?
This was Brant's. He had a rental car.
Oh,
Brant's
okay,
on a
okay.
thing now. He's making some money now, so he's just renting cars for like a month. That's his strategy for owning a car. So
Nice.
yeah, he's real
Okay.
financial wizard. Anyway, so I was like, the bags are gone, and we parked in front of his house, and it's like a nice enough street. It's like a little like there's definitely like traffic on the street, but not like where you think you'd
Yeah.
get robbed. But
Were
then I'm from
were the doors
Portland.
locked?
Well, that's the thing. It's a rental car. She's like, I thought I locked the door. I'm pretty sure I locked the door. I usually do. And I was like,
God.
oh my God, I had all my clothes, like the clothes I don't even care about, but just the computer and the hard drive, my merch,
Yeah.
just like stupid stuff,
Yep.
like my email list. And I was like, oh, I wrote down all those stupid emails. All those are gone. Just, I was like really beating myself up. And then we go to the neighbor and we're like, the neighbor had a Ring camera. So like, oh, let's go knock on their door and see if they'll let
They
us
captured it.
look. Yeah, because and so
Yeah.
this young woman answers the door like and she's like, oh, sorry, my baby was sleeping. So we like woke up her baby by knocking on the door. It was really
Sure.
literally napping their newborn baby. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry, but would you mind if we so she's on her phone checking through the Ring cameras like, yeah, I didn't have, usually it goes off if somebody even walks by on the sidewalk, and there's only one instance of it, and it was like you guys, and then before
Yeah.
we ever got there. So she's like, I don't. Usually it would pick. You'd think it would pick it up, but I don't. I guess it didn't. Maybe it came from the other side of the street, and there's like low income housing on the other side of the street. So it's like you don't want to be prejudiced of people's
Yeah.
situation in life. Be like, oh, God damn, should I like walk around the block and just take a look and see if anybody's got my bags? And then it hits me. First of all, Brant's like, did you leave it at the hotel? I was like, there is Brant. How would I have left it at the hotel? I had my bags packed in the lobby. Like I couldn't have left them at the hotel.
Yeah.
So then I'm like, oh, you know what? I can track my uh laptop on my phone because it's got one of
Oh,
those
'cause the
find my
Apple.
Apple devices, right? And so
Yeah.
it hits. So we're trying to. So we call the hotel just in case. We'll call the hotel, but they're not. It's not going to be there. So we called the hotel, and it wasn't. It wasn't there. Or I mean, we called the
Okay.
hotel. They weren't picking up. But then I did the track my laptop thing. It was right in the hotel. It was just
You
boom.
just didn't. You
Yeah.
never put it in the
I
car.
I just left it in the lobby. Just walked out, no bags.
Oh man.
So I was like,
Jeez.
I think it's Brant's fault because he didn't have any bags. So you're like, oh, just two guys leaving a place. Like, if he didn't, but I just can't believe. And then I literally have this bit about leaving like not bringing my suitcase to the airport. So now it's like, how are we going to get this bag? Cause it's like over 2 hours away and we had to go to Wyoming, which is in the opposite direction that night. So I called the dude who promoted the show, who hosted the show, Mark
Wait, how
Masters,
far was the hotel from where you were?
from Denver,
Yeah.
like 2.5 hours.
Oh.
Yeah. So it's not like just go pick them up. And it's in the opposite. We could not, we literally
Oh
didn't have time
no.
because Brant and I had
No.
to be in Cheyenne, which is the opposite direction that night. Right.
Oh.
So I'm telling the
Oh
hotel,
my
like, hey,
God.
I don't know when I'm going to be able to get these bags, but could you just hold on to them? And they're just like, yeah, whatever. No one's, by the way, we're a hotel. We get thousands of guests a year. This has never happened. No one's ever been this stupid before. I mean, they didn't say that, but that was the tone.
For sure. Sure.
So
Oh man.
so we don't know what to do. So I was like, so I called this hotel shuttle, or this airport shuttle. I was like, hey, you guys do shuttles from Edwards to the Denver airport. Could you just put my bags on there? I'm not going to be there, but could you just take the bags and bring them and I'll pick them up from the Denver airport? And they're like, no, we don't actually put unaccompanied bags on our shuttle. And I was like, oh yeah, good point. That might be a little bit of a liability.
Yeah, you know how at airports they're constantly saying bags keep within.
Yeah. It's like,
You
oh
don't just
yeah,
drop it off.
sorry, I'm just the laziest drug smuggler of all time. I apologize. I haven't thought this through actually. I'm still workshopping ideas on how to drug smuggle. So like, so then Brant's like, you should just call Mark Masters. He hosted the show and he has connections up in the area, and he produced
Yep.
the show. Like, all right,
Yep.
I'll call him. And so I texted him. He goes, "Let me work on a couple things." He goes, he's like, "Now I believe you're close." Like he just thought it was so funny. Like I literally did this bit about leaving, you know, going through the airport with Walmart bags because I left my
Yeah.
suitcase at home. And he's like, "But you," so he's like, "It's not a joke. Like you really did." Like,
This is
yeah,
your MO, Andrew?
this is my thing. This is what I'm known for.
Oh,
So,
damn.
so then a few hours go by and he says, "Okay, I think I got a plan." And so he's like, "There's this guy named I forget his name. I'm not won't say it anyway, but like he's gonna pick him up from the hotel tonight, and then they'll be at Union Station tomorrow because this guy's taking a bus, right? So go to the bus station Sunday at noon, and you'll have your bags."
Yeah.
So this guy, it's just so crazy. So I'm like, all right, and he's like, here's the bus. You can track the bus, whatever. And I'm like, well, what else am I gonna do? Like, this is the best option by far. So
Yeah.
but then it's not the same guy. So whoever picked up the bags from the hotel so I'm getting texted by like Mark and two different people who are all coordinating getting these bags back, and then it ends up just being some kid. So that guy got the bags. Some kid who was like taking the bus to the train station because he's going to Chicago, and he had my bags. So we go see him at the airport. I give him some money or whatever. I'm like, thank you so much. And he was really nice about it. He's like, "Do you know where the train to Chicago is?" And I'm like, "Nah, I really don't. But let's find out together. Let's go." That's the least I can do. And
No,
then
sorry, kid. I'm actually in a hurry. Good luck. Thanks
yeah,
for
like
my
fuck you.
bags.
How dare you? I'm late. Because he
Yeah.
literally said, "Well,
Fucking
I was like, here's some money," and he goes, "Oh, you don't need to do that." And I was like, "No, I mean, this is amazing. You know what I would have, how stressed out I was." And he was like, "Well, I would hope someone would do the same for me." And I was thinking like, I don't know if I just take some stranger's bags with me on the bus.
Yeah, I would hope so too. Wouldn't be me, but I would
Yeah,
hope someone would.
I would hope someone of all the suckers out there, there would be one that would.
Yeah.
But then here's the weirdest part,
Yeah,
right?
you could usually find an idiot to do small dumb
Yeah, you
shit
can
like
always
this
find
if you
some
look hard
dumb
enough.
sack of shit who's got nothing better to do. Me, I have important things going on in my life.
Right.
So here's the weirdest part, right? They, the guy even texted me. He's like, "Hey, I hope this is okay, but I had to put one of your bags inside the other one to get it down to two items, or else the bus wouldn't let him." I was like, "Yeah, of
Yeah.
course, no problem." And I open up the bags, and I have a little Target bag that I keep the merch in, and there was a
Yeah.
hat, like a brand new hat, that was not my hat. And it had, and I wish I had it with me because I would show it to you, but it was some like company or something. So I don't know if it was this guy's company and he's like just like promoting it, or if he like found the hat in the hotel and he's like, "Well, this guy left every other fucking thing here. This is probably his too." And he's just started throwing
Yeah.
stuff into the bag. But now I have a new hat on top of it all. Got
Nice.
the bags back. So
Maybe he was hoping, oh man, maybe he'll wear this Best Buy hat of mine on his next show and
yeah,
he'll
that's that's what maybe he was just trying to get me to promote. I should I should find it and wear it on the podcast at least. I have it with
there
me.
you go.
Uh so
It's so funny. You were like, "Do you want to hear this story or this story?" At the what was it? It was at the show when I did Comedy on State. I did a bit where I'm like, I love it when comedians are always like, "Hey, I got time for one more. You want to hear a clean one or a dirty one?" And I told the audience, I was like, "All right, now I want to see what it would. I always thought it'd be funny to see what would happen if the audience insisted on a clean one, no matter what I
right.
said. Well, let's do this. And you guys always insist on a clean one." So I turned around, I was like, "All right, I got time for a clean one and a dirty one. Which one do you guys want to hear?" And they're like, "Clean." And I was
Uh,
like, "Huh, okay." I had no ending. I was like, "Huh, all right, I guess that's moving on. I guess that's what it feels like."
that is so funny.
I
That's
thought
so
it'd be so funny. And I was just like, "Oh, that's okay. I should probably write the ending to that."
that's so funny too cuz like well, it's just a fun that's a funny bit because that is what a comedian like the comedian who does that trick would have that dilemma because they know the answer they're going to get. They've
Yeah.
never gotten clean one before.
Yeah.
I I think it's funny too because it's like Of course. How about just do your act? You don't need to ask the audience what jokes to
Right.
tell.
You got a joke planned. Yeah.
Hey, everybody. I got time for one more. Do you want to hear my a funny one or one that's slightly less funny? What do you think? What you want to hear one you would relate to or one you probably wouldn't relate to very much at all?
Yeah. You guys want to hear the one I'm going to tell or the one
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell? But I'll
You
tell the other one
guys
anyway.
you guys want to hear the joke I hope you're going to tell me to pick or the one that I'm really praying and clenching my asshole right now saying god damn it I hope they don't pick that one cuz it's not great. Which one, folks?
Which one? I did do a jab at the audience. Like, all right, you say the comedians are always like, oh, you want to hear a clean one, the dirty one, and the audiences are always like, oh my god, we want to hear a dirty one. Well, we want to hear, because audiences are so
Yeah.
fucking dumb. that guy, that at least got a laugh.
They are so dumb because it's like uh it's just so funny that the whole like if you never just told an audience. I think I talked about this
No,
last week, but if you just never mentioned to the audience this is clean or dirty, they just would
yep.
never think like I'm being robbed. But the second they find out somehow the show has been clean or that joke
I
was clean,
know.
they feel so robbed. They're like, wait a minute, he didn't say shit or fuck or anything. He didn't talk about his cock or vaginas.
God damn it! Can
Ah,
you imagine
man,
how
I got
funny it
ripped
would be?
off.
He was holding back.
He's holding back.
You ever have a show? Let me ask you this, because this happened at
Sure.
Saint Naziance. I kept calling it Saint Naziance, and they would get
Nazions.
irritated. But
Those opera
anyway,
crowds are so
yeah,
snooty.
they're very snooty. Those opera crowds drinking 30 packs
Yeah,
of Natty Light.
and
Do you
sucking on their zins or whatever.
you ever have a show where like they're like really rowdy, but you're just like it's almost like you're just in the mood for like dealing with
Yeah, yeah,
crowd. You do have that sometimes?
yeah, yeah. I know. There's a perfect. It's like it must be like how surfers feel or something. Like like as much as I never would give an audience member credit where they're like, we made the show better, because
Yeah.
you don't. But there is a
No.
perfect level of chaos to ride sometimes. That's just as long
Mhm.
as you feel in control the whole
And you're
time,
in the mood for it.
and you're in the mood for it. And if I'm like a little tired of my act or tired of my jokes, and I'm
No.
very happy to be broken out of it,
Yeah.
it can be really fun. And just weird. I
Yeah.
like weird more than rowdy, I guess. Like I like when just like odd things happen or stuff I haven't heard a million times,
Yeah. Yeah.
The heckles you've heard 1,000 times are not fun, but like when
Yeah.
something just so weird or
Something
stupid
new happens.
happens,
Yeah.
someone has like a bird or something, it's like that stuff's great. You brought your
Yeah.
bird? But
That's
yeah,
so
so
funny you
they
say
were
that. Someone brought a bird to Comedy on State, I think 2 weeks ago.
really.
It was like an emotional support bird. It was like a bird in a cage. I was like, what the fuck?
That's so funny because that sounds like a Sebastian Maniscalco bit or something. Emotional support bird. You get emotional support from a
Uh,
bird. I can't do it. I can't do Sebastian. I wish I could do Sebastian Maniscalco. I can't do it.
uh, I
I,
like I like your impression of it though.
I just like it because you can take like I feel like usually good observations, but then just keep repeating them until the
Hmm.
audience is like, yeah, that is funny.
Yeah, yeah.
That's kind of the style. Uh, yeah. What? Okay. Well, there you go.
Uh, you got any other pre-show discussions?
Okay, I have another one, but it's like just a long. I feel like it's gonna be another long story, and I might have sucked all the oxygen out of the room with that first one.
Well, you already set up with the. You have another story to tell anyway,
Okay.
so our listeners are just waiting for it.
So, file this one under. Well, let me ask you. You guys have a? Because one time I said this on stage and people laughed like that it was absurd. But do you guys have like a neighborhood email chain
It's not an email chain, but it's like a
or like a
maybe it is. I
group?
don't know. Is it? It's like a next door thing, but it's just for the neighborhood.
Oh, Okay, but you have a way for you all to communicate privately or something.
Yeah, I mean, I receive them. I would have no idea how to use it if I wanted to communicate something.
Okay, well, we have just like an email group. It's not like a group text, but there's just every once in a while, if someone wants to talk to the whole street, they fire off an email and it goes to everybody on the street.
Okay.
And we got this. There's this guy named Jeff, and he moved. Uh,
Name is
he
Jeb.
Jeff Jeff.
Jeff.
Sorry,
Okay.
sorry. No, he's not Jeb. I live in Amish
Jebediah.
country, and he unfortunately divorced from his wife, and then but he wanted to stay close to his kids, so he moved to the other side of the block. And on the corner from where down the street from where we live is a funeral parlor and crematorium. And so he moved to on the other side of the block, but right next door to the funeral parlor. So
Okay.
we get this email from Jeff, and he's like, "Hey, I'm sure you've all noticed, but there's like a weird smell earlier today, like a chemically smell, and I had a headache all day, and I looked into it, and it turns out there was like smoke coming from the crematorium that wasn't usual, and they're checking in on it, and I've called, I called the fire department and got all these people involved, and they're like investigating. And I was like, whoa, oh, that's not good. There's like weird chemicals coming from the crematorium, you know? So
Yeah.
then
How
they
far is the crematorium?
Well, it's right down the street from our house. We didn't notice the smell,
Okay.
but he lives right next door. So we're probably
Oh,
like
okay.
6 houses away. He's like literally
Yeah.
next door to this place. So then he he follows up and another email. And he asked us all to file a complaint on this site. It's the DEQ. I guess they probably monitor like hazardous smoke or chemicals or something for the city.
Okay.
So we're like, okay, I guess we got to figure out how to do this, whatever. Then he sends another email a few hours later. He's like, okay, I got a response. Apparently, they were using they're using a different chemicals or system, but there was extra smoke because they were burning a 500-pound individual, and they had to use a heavy board and a special blue bag. So
Um,
I've told it, but then you're like, and Heidi, you're like, oh, okay. Well, if every once in a while they have to burn someone 500 pounds and a little more smoke comes out, that's just part of living next to the
yeah.
crematorium, I guess. Like,
Yeah.
what are you going to do? And how often are we going to get 500-pound people coming through,
Yeah.
But he wasn't satisfied, so he was like, we gotta this is unacceptable, and we gotta get them sent out to Gresham. Gresham is they have another cremation place. So I was like, how do you imagine that's gonna go? Where you're like, hey, I'm sorry, your uncle is too fat. He can't get burned up in the neighborhood. All right. We gotta send him out to Gresham. Like, who's having that
Yeah.
conversation? And
Yeah.
also what
Sorry, we can't burn it. He's too fat. The neighbors complain when we burn fat people. It smells bad.
that's
Your uncle's
literally
gonna smell bad.
that's literally what it is.
Oh
That's
my
literally
god.
what you'd have to say to a family member, these neighbors. And so he said, and so of course there's just all these emails and everybody's going back and forth. I just don't get why it needs to be. I get why you need a heavier board. I don't know why you have to use a different blue, like why a different color bag. That's what I don't. No one's explained to me.
Well, can't they just like what if they just do like half?
That's what I said.
Like they
Do
do
it.
half.
Do
They
it
do
in
half the
halvesies.
time.
Right.
Yeah.
You have to do the whole. I guess because they probably aren't set up to make the person into half. And they don't stop off at the butcher shop or whatever first, like
But just get a buzz saw.
Sopranos. Yeah, just get it. Yeah, come on. What's the problem? Just just saw this 500
Come
guy.
on.
Get a
Do I
magician.
have to do I have to think of everything?
Hire a magician. Just get one of his, but then just don't do the trick.
Yeah, just put his body in one of those
Right.
the boxes that gets
Um,
into three parts.
he does it all the time.
Yeah.
So, but then it's like most neighbors are like being very serious. And I told Heidi, it's like, I'm gonna throw a joke out there, and she's like, don't do it, because this is like not like a text chain. This is like the official neighborhood.
Yeah. I mean, you're gonna throw an email joke.
Yeah. And so I,
Did you
I
do
was
it?
just, yeah, I did. I was just, I very like, not even barely a joke, but I was just like, oh, now I have extra motivation to go to the gym so they don't burn me up in a blue bag one day. And so no response. Just complete acting like I nobody, you know what I mean? Just nothing. And then
Yeah.
just
That's
resuming
the
emails.
worst. You get like responses to previous
Yeah,
emails from
yes. They
before your
just
joke.
pretend they're like just out of the guy is just so embarrassed. I'm just gonna act like he didn't say that. And then but then the next
Ah,
but then the funniest one to me was my neighbor Bill. He wrote something like me and Val look into this and then we will act accordingly. And then he goes, by the way, I have two shelves that I'm trying to sell. And then he put pictures of his shelves. It's like, Bill, we're not talking about your shelves right now, okay? They're burning fat people right next door. We have to, we have to figure this out first. But
oh, it's
so the
hilarious.
worst part is, it's like both Heidi and I are like, are they serious? Like, what is the like how and I guess if you do think like there's dangerous chemicals in the air or something, it's unsettling, but like come on, how many times a year are they getting these? Maybe they could just notify us, every time they're about
Yeah.
to do one, they could like
You guys might want to make a trip on Thursday. We got a fat one coming in.
close your just raise a flag, close your windows and doors.
I
So
just love that guy. I love that guy tried to sell his. By the way, I got a bookshelf for some.
yeah,
I just like that. I think you should have like made a joke about that, and just like I love how like if you keep making jokes that
right.
just is repeatedly ignored.
Well, it did.
Uh,
I will say it made me feel better as everyone ignored the bookshelves too. I didn't see any, unless someone was
yeah,
like started a private chain. They're like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy these bookshelves off the group chain here."
yeah.
But then, so I don't know. There's no update right now. Oh, but the craziest part is he goes, we should get the news involved if they don't agree to like not burn fat people.
God.
We should get. I was like, the news. You want you know what you're gonna do to our property values when you tell the whole city that this is where they burn the biggest people in town,
Yeah.
Just don't tell anybody. We don't want the news involved.
I think you
So
should send out another email that just says, "Hey, did you guys get my email? Did my email go through? I didn't hear any
I
feedback."
didn't I didn't get any ha-has or smiling
LOL.
emojis. So I'm just making sure my internet's working because I've had it been going
Hmm,
out.
hmm, hmm.
It's weird bombing on an email. I feel like I'm more comfortable bombing on stage than I am on a
Yeah.
email thread. Oh, so then
Yeah, then you
finally,
at least know that no one's laughing. That one,
right.
your imagination goes wild, and you're like, "Oh, they're
Or
probably
you're
making fun of
hoping
me
you're
in their
hoping
homes."
that people are like, well, I that's pretty funny, but I can't. What am I going to respond to 24 other people?
Yeah,
Like, haha, it's not the same thing as like a text. A small text chain is what you need.
yeah. They should reply just individually to you and just say,
You
"Nice."
did it. You did it. You really,
Yeah,
because it just felt like everyone was being so humorless about the thing. It's like, come on, this is objectively kind of funny that this is our big problem here in
yeah.
the neighborhood. And then so then like I don't know where it stands now. I guess there's been some back and forth with the funeral home director or whatever, but they found out they're licensed to burn up to 1,000-pound person.
Just gonna get
So
stinky. They
so
can do it, but it's gonna stink.
you just be careful. Watch out.
Hey,
Anyway, so that's the neighborhood
I love it.
goss.
That's a good story. I'm glad you told that story.
Neighborhood goss. New segment.
New segment. What's the segment called?
Neighborhood goss.
Neighborhood goss. Yeah, I don't have any neighborhood goss this
You don't
week.
have any neighborhood goss? You got to get on that next door chain. Start stirring the hornet's nest a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah. Eh, we'll see.
All
I
right.
don't even look. I'm still connected to our LA neighborhood, actually. How lazy I am.
Oh, on next door, you're still
Yeah, I'm
getting the LA news.
still finding out what's happening in West Los Angeles.
What is happening in West Los Angeles?
Nah, I don't read them because it doesn't pertain to me. There's a lot of missing dogs, a lot of stray dogs.
It's like I get so frustrated with social media, like trying to gain any traction on there with stand up. I'm like, maybe I should just like be a next door comic. Just like post my. Can you post videos on next door? I was like, it's like
You just
fertile
send out
ground.
YouTube links.
Yeah, no other comedians are on there, right? Or they're not,
Yeah.
you know. posting their stuff.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Any other
Should we get into topics?
yeah, topic it up.
Let's topic it
Topic
up.
time.
You want to go or you want me to?
You go. You go.
All
What
right,
do you
this is
need
one.
backup on, Johnny?
This is what I need backup on. And this came about organically. This isn't something I had to think hard to come up with, but don't you think it's time? Don't you think we need a new sport? Like, what's the last new sport that we've had? You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're
It's
right.
baseball, soccer, football, and basketball. That's pretty
You
much
know
it.
have you ever heard of slam ball? I think it was in the
No,
90s.
I
It's
have not heard of
basically
that.
basketball but with trampolines and really really high hoops and you could dunk every time and you could there's more physical like you're like hitting each other. But that was a new
That
sport.
sounds. It's called slam ball. I'm gonna look into that. But that's what I
YouTube.
mean. Like
But
that's
that
like
was in the 90s. I mean that was like over 20 years ago
yeah.
now. Yeah.
And that's the thing, like, nobody's trying for new games. Like, it's like, yes, I know it's hard, but like if they were at least trying, you'd at least every once in a while you'd hear about some new
Right.
thing coming up and failing, but no one's even trying. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? You got your okay, jump ball or whatever, slam ball, and then you have the XFL, but those are just like
That's the same sport.
it's just the same sport, but
Yeah.
it's like the slam ball's like an angle. Like, I mean, like, okay, a whole new
This is
thing.
genius. We should just come up with like a brand new sport
We should.
and just make it
Yeah.
yeah, really
I
weird
should have thought of what it is before that was my
because
topic.
you got to believe okay, so like what was the golden age for making new sports? It was probably like what, the end of the 1800s or early 1900s? Like when did like baseball, basketball and football feel like they all started at the same time or around the same
Baseball,
time?
football, and what? And basketball.
Basketball?
Basketball. Nate, what's his name?
Naismith.
James Naismith.
How did you get that?
Yeah.
What's this
Huh?
coming from? Where's this coming from?
I did that was like a fifth grade gym class test answer
Uh,
question that I never left my brain.
um, yeah. So yeah. All right. I'm gonna. You know what? We never do this. I'm gonna look up.
All right, you look it up while I
Okay.
ramble. But like because like I mean, I don't we just get sick of like I mean, yes, there's new players and people are training and getting like incredibly more athletic, but it's the same thing. How
Yeah.
many times you got to watch people do the same thing,
Do you
Like
think it? Yeah, dude.
watching like any if you watch a football game, basically almost any football game is less exciting than going on YouTube and just searching out craziest football plays. You know what I mean?
Okay. So this backs up. All right. Baseball, 1839. They're saying
Well,
football,
that's a while ago.
1869.
1839,
Basketball,
1869.
1891. So they are all made. The three biggest sports in America were all invented within 60 years
Yep.
of each other.
In the
Basically
1800s.
every 30 or wait, 60 years, right? Yeah. So
Yeah,
every like
39, 69, and what?
and 91.
91.
So every 30 years they would like make a new sport. But then since in 1891, we just quit. We said three's
Well, how old
enough.
is soccer? Did you look that
Wow,
up?
that's got to be that's got to be
That's
older than
probably
all of them,
older.
right?
I don't know. That's the dumbest one. So probably.
Yeah. It's the most boring
You're
one.
not a soccer
No,
guy, right?
1863.
Oh, see, there you go.
So so every sport between 1830 basically and 1890, that was when we were making sports. And since then, we've just been watching. That's why we're not making any new. Cause that's why we're not making any new sports. We're wasting all our time watching sports.
Yeah. God, what's the
This is
yeah, I
great.
don't
You're
know.
right. We need a new sport
We need a new sport.
because those are definitely the four. Oh, okay. What about ice hockey? That was the new one.
Oh yeah, when
When did
is
they
hockey?
ice hockey invented?
Yeah, I forget about hockey because that's another stupid one.
1875.
Boom.
All in
Right
the
in the sweet
window.
spot.
1830 to 1891, every sport was invented.
Oh
You're
yeah.
onto something, my friend.
Yeah. We got to come up with a new one. As I was thinking, I was like, all right, what's the more like ultimate, like what would be a new sport? And I just kept thinking of like my mind just kept going to like what's the I don't know, MMA, where it's just like no rules, no holds barred. You
Right.
just beat the fucking shit out of each other. You can kick, punch.
That is kind of a new sport. I mean, I'll give that one probably the most. That is the most. That's the best example of someone making something new and it becoming
And
like a
being successful
major.
with it.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, it becoming like a major pillar of our like sports entertainment business because
Yes.
that UFC or whatever is like so big now, bigger than boxing. And it's
Yeah.
definitely different. I mean, it's close to boxing, I guess, but it's definitely different.
Yeah.
So, all
Yeah. And
right.
are there rules? I guess I don't know what the rules are, but also, isn't there a difference between like, those 1800 sports where it's teams and then, boxing, kickboxing, those are like one on one
Yeah.
solo sports.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking of like the four major sports and then I added soccer, but
Yeah.
you're
And
right.
hockey and shit.
Boxing's, well, all right, what about tennis? Tennis is a major sport
Sure.
in the
Another
12th
dumb one.
century. Okay, so tennis is definitely older.
Dude, tennis is the oldest, huh? That's the 12th century.
Uh,
How
wait,
do you like
the
that?
inventor of modern tennis has been disputed, but the officially recognized centennial of the game in 1973, so 1863 is when they're saying
Tennis 1863?
the modern version. It
Oh,
can be
okay.
traced back to the 12th century, I guess, but
Huh.
it began as a spectator sport in the late 1960s. So I guess you could say tennis is a new sport compared to the rest.
19 to what? The 1960s, you said?
Yeah.
Eh. Well,
But anyway, this is a great
whatever.
topic. We need a new sport.
You need a new sport.
Wait, you were
Write
talking
in
about
with
it.
a
So your
five-star
mind,
review. What?
where was your mind going? Like, is your sport have a ball in it?
I didn't think of them. I'm sick of seeing people do the same shit they've been doing,
Yeah.
you know?
It's impossible for me to not just. That's how warped my brain is about sports. Like, I cannot think of a new sport without like just taking the concepts from baseball, basketball, football, and like
Yeah.
and just kind of switching them around or combining them or something.
Are we gotta get multiple balls in, like a capture the flag type ball. There's different balls. You got
Capture the
teams, a
flag.
lot going
Capture the
on.
flag could be a cool sport. You could actually
Would that be a fun
televise.
spectator sport though?
I think you could televise it now because it would take like a ton of cameras, but now we have all these drones and you could put little cameras in every tree or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could have like a
You could
hunger.
do a ball POV cam.
Oh, the new sport is just Hunger Games.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that's where it's all heading. An actual Hunger
Yeah.
Games.
That's where
Uh,
it's all headed.
and I'll be very sad about it, but I'll be watching.
I'll be
Popcorn
watching.
ready for the real life Hunger Games.
Yeah. All right. Well, you're backing me
Oh
up.
yeah, I love this. This is a great point. I think there's something like in all seriousness, you could do a bit about how like every sport we watch now was made between 1830 and 1890 and
Yeah.
just why that is and like why we're not capable of invented like we only had room for this many sports just forever, for
Uh-huh.
now almost going on 150 years. Like we were like, nah, you know,
Yeah.
need another one.
Yeah. Football,
But they were on a
baseball,
heater.
basketball, soccer.
1830, 1890, we were on a real heater inventing sports and then just completely stopped.
Yeah, you ever wonder like when they first started, playing basketball or whatever, what was the one in 1991? Was that basketball?
You mean
The
1891?
the latest one, 1891, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was basketball.
You think they were like, get that shit out of here. That's stupid.
Yeah,
Like,
of course.
okay, you're gonna put a ball in a hoop. Go fuck yourself.
Yeah, of course. They're like, what a stupid idea. Oh, and you have to bounce it first. You can't even just run with it. You have to bounce it on the ground. No one's gonna
Yeah,
do that.
that'll never stick.
It's impossible.
That's what the new sport's going to be like. You have to juggle. You have to be juggling. If you stop juggling, that's
Stop
traveling.
juggling, that's traveling. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I would be one of those people like this sport, this juggling sport is stupid. No one's gonna do that.
Yeah. Everyone would
That's never gonna
until it
catch
catches
on.
on.
No. It's that
Yeah,
there
that's
might
what
be
it is. That's what it is.
that might say something about society though, that like the only major new sport that's caught on in over 100 years is trying to kill someone with your bare hands in a cage.
In a cage, yep. In a ring, yep. What are
Like
the rules to that? Like what are the like why the
you
ref there? What
can't
is he
bite.
doing?
You can't
Can't
bite.
bite.
There's certain holds I
You
think
can't
maybe that are
you
illegal.
can't bite. Hep, no biting.
No
Oh,
biting.
come on, ref.
No biting. I bet there's like something about pulling hair, but I'm not sure.
What about
I'm not
just
a
like grabbing his fucking wiener and just
yeah,
fucking
I bet.
squeezing the shit out of his
Isn't that
balls?
funny? That is like such a male. We're just so like men are just so funny because it's like I just assume that's for sure a rule. You can't hit him in the nuts. Like that's the one thing where like you can gouge his eyes out. You
Yeah.
can take your elbow and smash it into his temple so hard that you kill the man.
Cracks his skull. Yeah.
But if you graze his balls, tweet! Ah, what the hell are you? Come on. That's such a dirty. How dare you?
You
What are
that's
you?
low.
What are you, an animal?
Do they wear cups? Do they wear
They
cups in that?
must. I mean, that's the thing. Is
No.
that's and again, another male thing. Just the one thing where like helmets. No way. That's gay.
Right.
But everybody's gonna wear wear a
Yeah,
cup
you
because
gotta protect the peen.
those are my balls.
Yeah.
That's and if I lose brain function, I'm fine. But yeah, yeah, that's now depressing me thinking that MMA has become. It's funny too because like I just assume nobody else. I intellectually know it's MMA is very popular, right? I
Hmm.
know that
Yeah.
because people talk about it or it's on TV a lot or you just I've just heard the stories about how much money it's making, right?
Yes.
But anytime I meet somebody, I'm like, well, surely you're not a like it just would never occur to me to think
That
that
you're
they
not
would be
what
a
into
fan
MMA?
or just a fan, like an
Right.
actual. To me, there's no one out there, just people I know or regular people who watch. And then when you find out that they're like they can't wait for the match, you're like, I'm just so fascinated. I'm like, what? So do you know these guys and what do you root for when you watch it?
Ronda Rousey, isn't she one?
Yeah, I think she's retired. I
Oh,
don't know
okay.
who the
That's the
main
only one I
guy is
know.
now. I really have never actually sat down and watched it. I'm sure it's fascinating.
Yeah, I'm sure it is too.
But and then look at this. Who's the biggest like most powerful comedian in the world now, basically?
Who?
Joe Rogan. And where did he come
He's the
from?
biggest, most powerful comedian?
Well, he's probably the most powerful. I mean, like no one his podcast is the biggest podcast in the world. He
Yeah.
can what other thing if you were a comedian and you went on it would change your life?
Yeah. I don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know. However you want to measure it, whatever. But like
Big
Rogan,
dog.
where did he come from? The MMA world. That's how he got huge, was being a ultimate fighting commentator, right?
No, I mean he was a comic and an actor, and then he fucking
Oh,
got into it
sure,
and got
but like he
jacked.
was he did Fear Factor and he did a
Yeah.
bunch of stuff. But also he was doing that ultimate fighting thing and like obviously is translated into the type of audience he was going to like
Yeah.
draw one
Right.
day.
Yeah.
So something to
Hmm.
think about. I don't know what my point is.
Something to think about.
Something to think about. That's what you say when you have no point at all. Like, well, Andrew, who cares? I mean, that doesn't mean anything.
What's your
Ah,
point? Why it's something to think about.
something to think about.
All right, what do you need? Top it. What do you need back up? Oh,
My
good. You
buddy.
got wine. That was the first I noticed your wine.
Oh,
I
you
got
didn't
my
notice my
beer.
wine? Yeah, I'm drinking wine.
I had
Uh,
my New Belgium.
I took exactly one night off because I went pretty hard in Denver, and with old Brantsworth. Um. Oh, my friend. I just want to say my friend Jason used to say that, and I remember in high school, he's like my best friend in the world. But in high school, I lost it on him because he'd always just say something stupid or that just made me mad. He goes, "Well, just saying." I'm like, "You're always just saying. That's all you do is
Okay.
just say. You just
Yeah.
say something like that makes sense."
Yeah.
All right. Here's my topic.
Yes.
If you have food on your menu, you have to stand by it as an establishment. And that goes from the servers on up to the owner.
Oh, I'm interested. What?
So
Go
like
on.
I was in Cheyenne and it was after the show. And you're always just a little like Wyoming is like especially country. Like I think more so than a lot of places. And so yeah, of course you're worried the stigma, you're this Portland liberal libtard or whatever. And
Yeah.
but I'm able to pass, luckily, because I'm a white dude.
Cool guy.
But yeah, cool guy. That's what I want to say. Cool guy. And but then I'm so hungry after the show. See, Brantley can go like he doesn't eat like I do. I gotta eat. So I'm like, all they really had was pizza at this bar. So like, let me get like.
Okay.
But I've also been eating. We went to. Have you heard of Bucky's? You ever been to Bucky's? It's like a truck stop.
The gas station.
Yeah, but they have like a huge. They have like barbecue. It's like a gas station slash barbecue
Okay.
restaurant. Anyway, we went there for lunch. So all I had had for all day was just like meat, basically, just brisket and sausage. We didn't eat well the
Yeah.
day before, so I'm like, all this bar has is pizza. And it's like, all right, I'm hungry, but I'm just gonna get pizza. But then I was like, I gotta mix in a vegetable or something. So they had pepperoni, they had supreme, but their supreme was just there was no vegetable involved. It was just like Canadian bacon and pepperoni and a bunch of other meat. And
Yeah.
then they had salad pizza, right? So it's like to me, a salad pizza is just like vegetable. Other people would call that like the veggie pizza, I guess, right? Where it's like
Yeah.
peppers and onions and stuff.
Is there lettuce on the pizza?
I don't know. So I'm just saying, I'm ordering all three. I got three of them. Let me get the pepperoni, the supreme, and the salad pizza. Because I asked, they're like, well, they're personal sized pizzas, and there's other people there, and I know they're saying they don't want to eat, but like I know when they come, they're gonna start eating, and I'll get
Yeah.
annoyed. It's like, let me just get all three. And
Okay.
this server looked at me like, you want the salad pizza? I was like, well, I just want some I just haven't had.
It's almost like he was shaming you.
Yes. And then I was like, I just want some vegetables. She's like, I don't think anyone's ever ordered the salad pizza. I was like, well, could you just it's on your menu. I didn't come in here with like a box of greens and go, hey everybody, I'm from Portland. I just, I noticed you didn't have any salad pizza. And also it just shows that you guys have never heard of vegetables. Like no one calls it salad pizza. We just call it like we just sometimes put
Veggie.
vegetables on shit in the rest of the world.
Yeah.
It just happens to be like on the Supreme, there might be onions or peppers or something. So this salad, and then even another server came over, like they were just shocked. The whole place was like, it was like buzzing. They're like, someone ordered the salad. It's like it came up on the ticket window and everybody was like, the chef came out, like, what did you order? You ordered the salad pizza? And then it comes out, and I'm not making this up. It was literally bread with lettuce on it. Like they gave me a pizza crust, no sauce, no cheese. Like
Was it a joke item on the menu?
that's what I'm saying. Like they put it on the menu. I didn't ask for this. I mean, I asked there was no description of it in the thing other than salad pizza. So I was just assuming,
Wow.
well, clearly it's at least like a cheese pizza with some green shit on it. That would have been perfect. But it was literally
Wow.
just pizza crust with salad on top. And then you're like, why don't you just serve a salad? Like I could have gotten like a pepperoni
Yeah.
pizza and a salad. That would have been a good normal thing to order. But they're like
Yeah.
they're
If you
like
got
I'm
something
the
that the
asshole for ordering a thing on their menu. That's what bothers me.
right.
You got to stand by the shit someone thought of that in your restaurant and put it on the menu, so you should stand by it.
Yeah, since it's on there, I agree. I'll back you up. You got to stand by it. What I would recommend is they just take it off the menu.
Yeah, I
If you have
know.
an
I knew you were
item
gonna say that.
where everyone comes out to see who ordered it,
Right.
maybe take it off the menu.
It is like it is almost like a prank show thing. Like let's just put pig shit on here, and just say
Yeah.
$27 pig shit, and see would anyone order? And then somebody eventually is gonna go, well, it's $27. Never tried. Maybe it's not.
Yeah,
It
it's
can't
gotta be
actually
good.
be shit, you know. And then you order it, and they're like, "What the fuck are you thinking? You can't eat pig shit." That's what it felt like.
What are you, a fucking moron? It's on your menu. Yeah, but it's pig shit. That's what they should have just brought out a bunch of lettuce and just put it on your head and be like, there you go, you fucking Portland asshole.
I mean, I'm telling you, it was just the most like stereotypical, stupid city boy coming in to the country western bar. Is like, this salsa's from New York City.
Get a rope. You ain't from around here,
Yeah,
are
you
you,
must not be
salad
from
boy?
around here. We don't eat salad pizza at the restaurant where they have salad pizza on the menu.
We just put it on our menu. All right, I'm backing you up for
Okay,
sure.
well, thank you, buddy.
All right.
That's the show, folks.
There you go, folks.
Thank you.
Andrew, where are you going to be?
Okay, I knew you were going to ask that, and I'm not
All
ready.
right, I'll tell you mine while you look up yours. I'll be in not this weekend. This weekend's Mother's Day. Reminder to all of our people that have mothers or wives. Comedy Nest in Montreal for all of our Canadian listeners. May 16 to 18, baby.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I just met somebody at the Denver show, and they're like, well, we live in Montreal, so we don't want to sign up for your email list. I'm like, no, just put down Montreal, and then now I'll know one person from Montreal, so I should send them your way.
Yeah. And tell them I'm going to be there.
I will be in the Bourbon Room in Port Angeles May 31st, and then Hecklers in Victoria, BC on June 1st.
Oh. Couple of Canada boys, huh?
A couple of Canada boys. And Heidi was going to go, and Ginger. And now, of course, Heidi's passport is expired, and I don't think we can get it back in time.
Yeah.
Amateur hour. And then the next weekend after that, St. Louis, but St. Charles, Funny Bone this time.
Which one is St. Charles? Because I do one of the St. Louis. Is that the one for...
It's the one... It's both Matt, but then he books them both, I think. But then...
yeah.
That's who I went through for both. But then... I think the St. Charles one is the one like out in the burbs a little bit.
And then the other one is called, what do they call it? It's like it's part of that mall.
It's part of that mall that's like a dead
Westport. Westport, right?
Yeah. It's very eerie. It's like a zombie apocalypse mall. It's like very like not a lot, like half the places aren't open, you know. But the club is.
But the St. Charles is not in a mall.
I don't know. I've never been there.
Okay. I still don't know which one I do.
Well, you clearly
I think I do the one in a mall, but I don't know if I call it a ghost town. I probably.
How would you know it's in a mall if you didn't? Or you just because all Funny Bone?
Well, it's not a ghost town mall. I don't think. Maybe it is. I don't know. Isn't there a Mexican restaurant right outside of it?
Yes. Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah, that's the mall.
Well, it felt like a ghost town when I did it because that's the kind of crowd I bring. I bring a lot of ghosts.
Well, I brought 41 people.
Hey, those aren't empty chairs. Those are just souls.
They're old souls that have died.
They're really old souls.
Yeah.
That's my demographic is ghosts. Okay. Depressing.
All right, folks, stick around for post-show banter.
Post-show banter. Two very successful comedians will chop it up after the podcast. Thanks, everybody, for listening to
Talking Comedy. The Cavalry.
The Cavalry.
That was a good ending.